One brand new flywheel. I'm going to put a little bit of brake cleaner on this surface the clutch sits on, just in case there's any grease there. So that's the flywheel on. By the way, there's 8 bolt holes, okay? There's one with like an elongated bit in the hole at the back of the flywheel. It doesn't really matter though, but the flywheel will only bolt on in one position, because if you turn it around, the bolt holes won't line up. So like I say, you've got to get it in the one position, so you can't get the flywheel on wrong. Anyway, let's get the rest of these bolts in. There! That's the flywheel on! Yeah! Woo! That's nice. This is a self-adjusting clutch cover. Now see that spring there, there's like a ratchet mechanism here, and as the clutch plate wears, that ratchet will kind of ratchet round, and this plate here will sort of like come out. Anyway, same again. Clean up the surface the clutch plate's going to sit on, because we don't want any grease on here. Well, we could have problems. This clutch plate, it's marked flywheel side, and I can't read German, I can't even say it, but it's a gearbox side. I'll tell you something, there's actually plenty of meat on this new clutch. I reckon that will last well. Anyway, let's line this up. That is my clutch alignment tool. This little bit here will go into the crankshaft, and this one here will go into the clutch plate. Like, bop, and that will keep us, that will level us up. Then we can bolt it up. Okay. 3 dowels, and that pops on. There. And I'll get a couple of bolts started. So I'm going to slide my clutch liner straight into the flywheel, and then that piece there will go into the clutch plate. Jiggle it around and get it roughly about level, so it pulls in and out nice and easily. Now all I'm going to do, I'm going to bolt all these 10mm bolts up, 3 or 4 threads at a time, nice and easily. And I'll keep doing a few threads at a time, 2 bolts there, 2 bolts there, and 2 at the top, until we've done them all up tight. Yeah. That alignment tool should now slide in and out of the clutch plate and flywheel really easily. Absolutely perfect. Right, let's pop this little slave cylinder back into place. That should just sort of like, that's it, we're on. And 3 little 8mm bolts. There. Woohoo! It's only been on the ramp a week. Don't worry, it's going back in now. To the right, to the right.
F in the eye and shuffle to the left.
If I put a spanner on this crankshaft pulley bolt, I can turn the engine very slowly, and hopefully the actual splines in the gearbox will slot into the clutch plate. There we go, we're in. I just sort of got to wind this bolt in now, but that's got onto the splines. I just felt that go right in. Excellent. And that bolt at the back of the gearbox by the cat we had all the trouble with. There's our new Mark V Mondeo bolt going in. That's winding in nicely. There we go, we're in. Let's get the rest of the bolts in the gearbox and get them all banged up now. Right, gearbox is in. It's all bolted up. It's easier to put all the bolts in while it's like hanging down a bit. I'm going to like jack the gearbox up now and put the engine mount on, but that bolts on top of the gearbox. And then once that's bolted on, this will bolt onto like the frame, the chassis of the car, and that will go, that pin will go through there, bop through there, and a 21mm nut, and that will tighten it all up. And we've got 4 15mm, and that'll be our gearbox mount all bolted up. We're going up. 21mm nut, and then you've got like 4 15mm nuts on the outside of this mount. You've got to bolt them all down. Yeah! Right, that's the gearbox in, back on its mounts. Bingo! I think I'll just bolt the rest of it back together now. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. I'll stick the subframe back on, bolt the steering rack on, ball joints and all that sort of thing. And then, hopefully when we start it up, we won't have no oil leaking from the rear main. Before I put these drive shafts back in, I'm going to make sure all these splines are nicely cleaned up. Right, and I think a generous helping of grease. I don't want these seizing up again, flipping heck. But I have cleaned up inside the actual hubs as well, so hopefully it won't be too bad putting back in. Just be careful you don't hit the seal with that drive shaft as you put it in. There. Bingo. That has actually come back through a lot better than I thought it would do. Well, I'm going to change this gearbox oil. I've actually just undone the level bung, which is next to the drive shaft, and there's plenty more in it. Whip, there goes the bung. So anyway, 8mm Allen key bolt. Crack that off. I better get my drain bowl underneath. There we go. Yeah. I tell you what, it's a bit black, dirty. I'll give that a little while to drain out. You ever removed the gearbox and you haven't put a piece of rag in the diff flange hole and the flipping oil's all poured down you? I'm telling you, once gear oil gets in your clothes, even if you run them through the washing machine, the smell don't go away. You'll stink like that for flipping days. There we go, 2 litres of 75/90 gear oil. I've got a cool little gearbox syringe here. So I'm just going to pop that in here. It's so much easier with the subframe out of the way. And I'll just keep filling that up until oil actually runs out of here. Then I'll put the bung back in. That's it. That's it. We're full. Yeah. There. Right. Quick. Get the bung back in. Right, let's give that a quick clean with some brake cleaner. I'm not going into this too much, but while the subframe's off, we're replacing the air conditioning pump because there's a lot of dye which I believe is coming out of the seams of this pump and leaking the gas as well. So that pump's off now. It's only like 3 bolts. The actual 10mm where the connector goes on the top for the pipes is a bit tricky to get to, but not too bad. And we're going to stick this pump on it, gas it up when the car's all running again, and hope that this pump doesn't leak. And while that air conditioning pump's off, we'll stick a new belt on at the same time. Shut up! Oh, what else you get for Christmas? That's that flipping tin shield. You need to like slot this in as you fit in the subframe as well, because if you get it in afterwards, it's a right pain. That rear gearbox stabiliser mount can go in now. Right, before we bolt this subframe up, before we tighten these bolts up, put the pins, there's a hole here in the frame that goes through the subframe and into the chassis. You've got to put them pins in, one either side, That's to line the subframe up. Otherwise you'd have, if you don't do that, you'd have steering problems. Yeah! There. Right, getting there. I'm going to have my cup of tea, and then I'm going to sweat, struggle and swear a bit, fitting this goddamn exhaust back up. Enough said. Ooh! It's not that bad. Well, considering I've got all the stands to lift it up. I'm going to stick this under tray back on the front. This goes underneath the front bumper, like that. Then I'm going to stick the wheels on, and we're nearly there. Just one final check. Always look over things two or three times to make sure everything's done up nice and tight. But yeah, we're all done under here now. Excellent. Hold on a minute. What's coming round the corner? Hey!
Tea! Come on, get in there.
Hello, Matt. Where's my goddamn tea? There it is.
Oh dear.
Cheers, big ears. Oh, and just for the aesthetics, as someone mentioned, the locking wheel nut key opposite the tyre valve. Woohoo! Well, the battery's in, the air filter box is going in. I've got to create a vacuum inside the car's air conditioning system, like removing all the air, like a thermos flask. As long as this reads -1000, and I can check it for leaks as well, I can hold it for so many minutes if it's so it doesn't lose any pressure. If that stays at -1000 millibar, then that's good. Then we know we've got no leaks, hopefully. It's just the waiting game now. I could change my gloves again. This is it, 700 grams. I'm going to hit the big green start button. Get this connector off. Okay. Yeah! This is the interesting part. Will it start? Will we have a clutch? We've got gears. Ooh. Reverse. Yeah. Well, at least the bloody clutch works, that's something. Well, the air conditioning pump clutch is cut in, so hopefully we'll have some nice cold air working inside the car now. The cooling fan works, that's coming on with the air conditioning. I guess all I can really do now is run it up, let the water bleed through, make sure the heater gets hot. I've set the heater controls too hot. I'm pretty sure you haven't got to bleed these. I think you just run it, it'll self-bleed. I've left the cap off the cooling system bottle for the time being, the expansion bottle. And I'll just run it up now until it all circulates properly. And hope we haven't got no oil leaks. I've just been for a run up to the roundabout and back, get it nice and warm. I just want to check for oil leaks now. As long as that rear main's not leaking, I'm going to be happy. Well, it's actually looking okay. when I was driving, I could smell a bit of oil, but I will say where the oil was pissing off that rear main, now a lot of oil has got onto the exhaust on this flexi section, and I reckon it's burning off there. So I'll spray a load of brake cleaner on that and hopefully clear some of that off. But as far as the rear main goes, there's no oil there now. So I'm assuming that's well and truly fixed. But there again, I knew the original seal was bloody like really brittle and hard, that's why it was leaking. So I'm quite happy with that. That's it. I have done X, Y and Z on this bloody car. I'm parking it up for the night because tomorrow, which is Saturday, we're going up the car sales. I promised Monika a little drive of this car. She's been looking forward to this for quite a while now. In the meantime, I've got other things to do. I've got taxis to fix. So, later. What the bloody hell have you got here?
Steering and suspension issues, possibly. Feels like it's driving on ice, according to the customer.
He's got a flat tyre.
And a space saver, and sticky brakes.
He's still got a flat tyre. I'll tell you, a guy's brought this car in here because his car's sliding all over the place and he doesn't know why. He's got a flat tyre. I don't know what else to say. I'll tell you what I will say. I ain't working on this one. I only work on the good Mark III Mondeos, not the ones that have been abused. This is your job. Matt, what's going on?
You may want to come round here to the inside to see in full detail. The ignorance of some drivers.
We were looking at this classic Mark III Mondeo, which had a flat tyre, which is there. Oh, yeah. By the way, you haven't seen the spare tyre yet, have you? We'll come to that. Look at the skinny wheel on this side, right? Now, what could possibly be wrong with this wheel, Matt?
I think we might have a little bit of an issue with the wheel bearing.
Oh my God! I think this bloke was right to bring it in. But it's a bit like shutting the gate after the horse has bolted. This would be better in the bloody scrapyard, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I agree.
Oh well. Anyway, when you get it down, can we have a look at the spare wheel?
He's had his use out of it, let's say that.
Oh my God. He's probably drove it flat like that and not even noticed.
Yeah. That's the driving on ice, I think.
It does worry me that somebody like this should even be driving a car. Maybe they should just get a bus ticket, a season pass or something. Anyway, if you come across anything else that's interesting, let us know.
Oh, I'm sure there'll be plenty more on there.
Right, that's it. Till tomorrow. See ya. I'm telling you, it's a long old walk up here. I'm supposed to be meeting Monika at the car sales at 9:30. It's nearly that now, so I better get a move on. Besides, I'm getting a little bit concerned. People keep driving past looking at me. Here she is. She's waiting already. Wow, Mrs. Santa, Mamma Mia, you are. Wow.
Gee, thanks. And what the hell are you?
I'm the sweetie man.
Huh?
An elf. Santa's little helper. What do you think I look like?
I'm not gonna answer that. So shall we go for a drive?
After you, Mrs. Santa. Here we are, Mrs. M. Finally got your drive in the ST220.
Okay.
You know, I have to say, one of the reasons we do these videos is to capture these little moments in time. Where we can dress up like Mrs. Santa and a silly elf. But I can tell you now, in the year 2000, that was the year this car was released, this particular model. And I'm going to bore you now with a few statistics. Don't get me wrong, I'd love to talk about shaving legs and doing your hair and all the things you women do. Unfortunately, this is a car channel, so we've got to talk a little bit about cars.
I wouldn't want to talk about shaving legs.
No? Well, I've just been looking at your legs and they look very, very, very nicely shaved actually.
Thank you.
Anyway, I'm just going to bang on a little bit about this car for the viewers to know. In the year 2000, that's when this car was first released. This particular car here is a 2006. It's one of the last ever made. And I can tell you now, there weren't that many of them made in the first place. I don't think these ST220s sold that well. They were pretty expensive at the time. When we're talking like 15 years ago. And I think it was around about £24,000 one of these cars. But as you know, as we've got lots of these Mark III rentals, this is the top model. This is the pinnacle of it, of the Ford's bloody Mark III Mondeo. If you had extra money in your pocket and you could afford one of these, you had a quick car. Back then, in 2006, this car would do 0 to 60 in under 7 seconds.
Really?
Yep, and believe it or not, it would do 150 miles an hour. And flip it, do you know what? I've never ever been 150 miles an hour.
Shall we go on a motorway then?
No, the problem with me is I'm not one of them people. I haven't got the stomach for it.
Oh my god, boring.
So some people, you can put your foot down in a car like, maybe not this one so much because it's a bit dated, but some of these modern cars, you put your foot down and they can like pretty much launch, and then you'll feel your stomach get pulled back. It sort of like takes the wind out of you.
You're just being lightweight, Alan.
Yeah, I know, I'm a lightweight, but this was a quick car back in the day. It really was. I mean, a lot of people would scoff at it now, but back then it was really something. It could hold its own, that's for sure. You've got a blooming V6 engine, lovely and smooth. Not them old 4-cylinder things we got in all them rentals. But I think, you know, today, most people who have actually got these cars, because they're becoming really rare, someone left a comment and I think he summed it up. These cars are actually a labour of love now.
Labour of love.
Almost like a bad relationship. No matter how bad it gets, they still love you. They still love the car. And they'll fix them and because
and what?
they're ongoing projects. It's like I have done. Flip it. Let me just run you through the work I've done on this car. I've taken the rear subframe off and put some poly bushes on it, which is like a modification. I've changed the rear brakes and brake discs. one of the brake calipers, I put braided brake hoses on all round, which are like strengthened brake hoses, which don't flex when you put your foot on the brake hard. Gives you better braking. We've put some uprated brake discs on the front with some, well, we've done a modification on the front brakes. We've put Ford Focus ST brakes on the front, which are like a Focus, that's it, a lot more powerful. Because the brakes that come standard on this car are absolutely terrible. They can't stop. They weren't never good enough for the engine that's in this car.
Okay.
These Focus brakes, they are flipping sharp. They'll stop it now, and they look good as well, especially with them big alley wheels. I believe they're 18-inch rims, and that was standard back then. Yeah, we had a serious oil leak, so we've taken the gearbox out, put a new rear main oil seal in, a new clutch, a new flywheel. I've put a new water pump on it, a new thermostat. Run it all up. I've just put a brand spanking new MOT on it because it just run out. But yeah, so it's been a lot of work.
Yeah.
And
sounds like you rebuilt it all.
Yep. By the way, I didn't do this, but I can't show it because I can't get the camera down there. But you've got heated seats in this. These leather seats.
Yeah, I need that.
I've just put your seat on, by the way. Look at that seat. That is absolute. That is a Recaro heated leather seat. Absolutely beautiful. You see, I mean, what do you think? Are them seats comfortable?
Yeah, they're very comfortable.
In a minute, you'll be able to feel your bottom warming up with that heater that's on it.
Good. I need that. I think I'm only sitting on my bottom.
You know, I remember when we first got these cars. I mean, we never had these cars. In fact, I'll point this out now. In all the years that I have worked at Steve's Taxis or anywhere, I have never ever had the pleasure of working one of these cars. I've never even sat in one of these cars or
Really?
drove one. No, that's how rare they are. They're unbelievable.
And I'm sitting in it now.
Yep. So you can honestly say, in years to come, when you look back at this video, one day, maybe many years from now, when you look back at this video, and you'll see yourself dressed as a Mrs. Santa, driving a Ford Mondeo ST220. Legend.
Legend.
It is, it's all worth it. That's why we do the videos, really.
It's very smooth drive.
Yeah. It is, it's a lovely engine. In fact, these engines, they're what you would call bulletproof. Yeah, it means that not much really goes wrong with them. As long as you look after them, the main thing you've got to do on these engines is regular oil changes.
Yeah.
Otherwise you can mess the cam chains up, and then that really starts getting expensive, and you don't want to go down that route. But if they're looked after, they're one hell of a car. I mean, you could go cruising for this in this.
Let's go.
You could do a lot of miles in this car, Miss M.
I could.
Or should I say, Miss Santa?
I could. Elf.
Yeah. You know, I'm walking along the street and there's people looking at me. We have got a few bibs today.
Yeah, we did.
I'm glad I had that elf hat on actually, so they couldn't see my face properly.
Yeah, there's too much to see on me though.
Yeah, I think I was saying actually, when we first got our taxis, which were the 2-litre TDIs, they weren't the quick ones, they were the slow ones. They never had the common rail fuel injection system, but they lived forever, them cars. They were really good. When these cars were made, these Mark IIIs, at the beginning of the new millennium, and by the way, we'll never see another millennium, so we were actually lucky to see that millennium.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was another moment in time. But I said it before, this car was the pinnacle of the new millennium for Ford. Sorry, I can't speak properly. I'm going to have to say that again. Millennium.
You're spending too much time with me then.
But yeah, what do you reckon?
It was really good, really smooth, really fast. But I couldn't take it to the biggest potential.
Oh no, well, it's wet, so we don't want to risk it.
And the seats are warm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Them if I can aim the camera down there, there's little seat heaters here, and they certainly warm the seat up.
Yep.
Well, Miss Em, thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thank you very much.
By the way, as it's Christmas, if you fancy a drink any time, just give us a call.
Well.
Okay, cheers. Let's get out of here.
Yep.
Bingo! I enjoyed that little drive. Mrs M's a pretty good driver. She wanted to floor it, but it's a bit wet, so we thought better not. Anyway, that's it. That's a bloody nice car, I must say. I wouldn't mind owning one of them, but I don't think I could afford the miles to the gallon. I don't think they do much, probably about 27. Anyway, I guess that's the end of the video, guys.
Hey, Elf. Fancy a beer?
Too bloody right I do. Thank you very much, Mrs Santa.
You're welcome.
Cheers. Wasn't that nice of Mrs Santa? Hey! Cheers! Merry Christmas, everybody!
Merry Christmas!
See ya!